Gates.
Madaraka Day celebrations at Kinoru Stadium in Meru in 2018. And President Uhuru Kenyatta gave this directive.
All heads of procurement and accounts in government ministries, departments, agencies, and parastatals will undergo fresh vetting, including polygraph testing.
A statement that was swiftly followed by a fresh vetting of all top procurement officers from key state departments, alongside their close family members. 3 years later, and the shoe, it appears, is on the other foot, following the Pandora Papers expose that listed members of the Kenyatta family among key global prominent personalities with wealth stashed abroad in secret offshore accounts, including one firm listed to hold assets valued at over 3 billion Kenya shillings.
Uhuru thought that he had a clean hands, but essentially, we are not saying that because we need to prove where the entire this money came from, how he acquired it, and the family how they acquired it, but the bottom line of it is this: his reputation and credibility is gone.
The president is due to give a comprehensive statement on the Pandora Papers, but the saga now reigniting debate of wealth declaration queries for candidates eyeing elective seats in next year's polls.
We have to look at the track record of the person saying that he is going to fight corruption. If in his tenure, whether he was a minister, whether he was in whichever position, they were not able to account for the monies that were under them, then of course it brings a big question of how a person will be able to fight corruption. So it's a big issue.
Even though there are some few loose areas that need to be tied up, okay? Especially in the area of clearing of candidates, and again the area of those who have been charged being asked to step aside. That needs to be tied up, and that's the reason why I am proposing an amendment, actually 2 amendments to the Elections Act 2011 and Leadership and Integrity Act 2012.
Kenyatta and his newfound ally, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, have been loudest on calls for clampdown on corruption cartels in government. Amid persistent protests from among key Deputy President William Ruto allies, who decried what they termed as weaponization of the supposedly renewed counter-graft war to fight the second-in-command's close associates. A number of high-profile graft-related cases are already at advanced hearing stages before the Anti-Corruption Court, even as critics question the prosecutorial competence of the state.
The experience of the people that they have is a question that we have to look at. Most of these are very young advocates who, have 2-3 years post-admission experience. When they come to handle these particular matters, they lack that level of experience that will be very necessary.
It is only in Kenya where the opposition pretends to run the government, and the opposition runs corruption cartels in government.
Nia yangu ni kuhakikisha ya kwamba wale ambao wataendelea hawatakuwa watu ya kunyanyasa na kuibia wananchi.
But there must be political will from the very top, and we hope and trust that with the coming of the new government in the next few months, this fight against corruption will be enhanced.
Top presidential hopefuls have been campaigning on the platform of zero tolerance to corruption, and with the air already pregnant with questions on ownership of key assets and queries on the real wealth of top leaders. No doubt Kenyatta's promised comprehensive response to the Pandora Papers will be eagerly awaited as the 2022 political drumbeats continue. Murumi Mwangi, KTN News.
Indeed, that story by Muribi Mwangi brings forth many questions about corruption and our ability to deal with it at this point. First of all, there's the issue of prosecutorial competence, as he has put it. Do you think we are even, Professor Elmi, do you think we are even capable of prosecuting and bringing those mentioned in this story to book, or rather in this saga to book, given the political clout that they hold in Kenya?
Sister, the elephant in the house, this house of this country called Kenya, has always been corruption and impunity.
Yes.
Corruption is a generalized, very severe and chronic problem in this country. And corruption has actually been devolved. Every person who is sitting somewhere in the government is looking forward to enriching himself using the public coffers. This is not news. It's something that all of us know. And the issue is all the Kenyans don't even ask. The virtue of, theft has been glorified in this country. That even people will ask you, where ulikuwa kwa hiyo office, ulifanya nini? Ukiubia? You do not steal from the, you're a poor fellow, and you ulikuwa kwa so and so. So the problem here is not even the government. The problem here is with the citizen of this country. Do we really, we must get rid of corruption, and this must be a collective venture.
Right.
The other thing is the impunity. You see, you steal and you get away with it.
Yes, yes. Now, when we listen to some of the campaign promises and the people running for office or having aspirations in the 2022 political race, the economy comes up. But one of the biggest enemy of the economy is corruption. Do you think this should be featuring more prominently in the rhetoric, political rhetoric at the moment? Do you think we are speaking enough about corruption?
You see, my problem, my sister, the corruption has always been things that all political parties talk about.
Yeah.
They say we have zero tolerance to politics. And that's not true. You see, in their actions, in their deeds, we were very close to eliminating corruption during the first tenure or the first few months of NAC. This is when, every Kenyan was, if they saw a policeman taking a bribe, they will rush there and grab him. We almost finished it. And it raised the economy of this country is immensely and abundantly rich.
Yes.
The problem we have is how to use that money. This money is going to individuals. The good thing about the Pandora issue is that the president has not denied. And he has said that it is good that it has come out, and we are going to, he's going to deal with it comprehensively.
Right.
The problem here is if we put corruption as a campaign tool to attack few groups of people. Most of our politicians in this country, not even politicians, even churches, religious people, corruption is endemic.
It's
endemic.
true.
So as a country, we will not be dealing with the corruption, fighting for Kenyatta's family or Odinga's family or one family. We should be dealing with corruption head on. And the president has spoken. He has said that he wants to deal with corruption. Unfortunately, it is not dealt with enough. The president has not, and he had good opportunity coming from a family where they already have wealth.
Yeah.
They have everything that all of us, those fellows who are peasant, are looking forward to. He had a golden opportunity, and he still has, because president's tenure is not yet over. And everybody else, these fellows who are now accusing President Kenyatta's family, are most of them coming from Ruto family. And others are from the opposition. I also say that Ruto is the kingpin of corruption. So you see, there is a Somali proverb that says that there is a monkey. These monkeys have red buttocks. So when they are walking in a straight line, I mean, the other monkey is laughing at the other one. Say, the buttock is red. So I mean, all our buttocks are actually red. So it's a question of...
Unfortunately.
Yeah, and you see, my sister, the final thing to say, we are not short of legislation.
Yeah.
We are not short of structures. The problem is implementation, and that leader who is going to deal with the corruption, family. family, and that is the person we need. And it's not, it must begin with us as individuals. And then it goes to the family.
Yeah.
Most of the fellows we elect here are going to parliament to become rich.
Right.
They are becoming MCA so that they become rich. You apply for a commission job not to serve this country, but to serve yourself and your children. This attitude can only change if we collectively address this issue of corruption seriously and deal with impunity, not targeting particular family.
There's the whole Pandora thing, Mr. Okango, has actually put the president in an awkward situation because of, as we've seen in that story, all the quotes of him speaking against corruption and talking about, you know, trying to get the truth out of people in even unconventional ways. But now he has to deal with it, and the shoe is now on the other foot. What do you make of how the president is handling it, and of also those revelations from the Pandora documents?
Thank you, Trix. I think it's not true that it has put, the Pandora Papers leak has put President in an awkward position. It's not true at all. Okay. Because I saw immediately after that, the President released a statement.
Yes.
And in the last paragraph of his statement, he did say that, finally, these Pandora Papers leaks will enhance financial secrecy. And it will help this country and the globe to fight this illicit wealth, to fight money laundering, and so forth and so forth. I think it is coming at the right time. And by the way, people should also understand, while the offshore accounts have been misused by majority of world leaders to hide illicit wealth, to do money laundering as tax havens, but it is also good to understand that what are the advantages of having offshore accounts? And for example, there's so many areas where offshore accounts have helped foreign investors.
Yes.
In terms of high interest rates, in terms of protecting assets, in terms of getting better medical cover, and so on and so forth. And I think having an offshore account is not a bad thing.
Yes.
We have also seen some politicians argue that while it is legal, it is immoral. And therefore, they're trying to tell us that then we should also put all moral standards as a matter of legal standards, which is not true. So for me, the president has promised that when he comes back, is going to address this issue. And in that leak, there's nowhere that it was ascertained or reported that the wealth that the family of President Kenyatta are having in offshore accounts are wealth that are from proceeds of corruption. They didn't say that. People are just trying to imagine. And therefore, I believe that today in this country, there are many, many people who are even having onshore accounts, but the proceeds in those onshore accounts are from corrupt dealings, are from illicit wealth, are from money laundering. There are people in this country who are having offshore accounts, and the proceeds in those accounts are from illegal dealings. So for me, I think it is important that we deal with this. And the president has accepted that while he belongs to a family that worked hard to get this wealth, even before he became the president, it is not his wealth, it is the family wealth. The president is the president of the Republic of Kenya. He is all our president, including those who did not vote for him. So he has said he's going to deal with it. Sorry. So when he comes back, maybe the media now should go and see the president and get this. But lastly, Trix.
No, but before you go to your other point, you have mentioned something that is quite important. And I do believe, if I'm remembering correctly, Mr. Okango, you have roots in this industry of ours. What do you make of that type of journalism that puts prominence over sometimes truth or comprehensive research? Because what would have been more explosive as a journalist to me would now linking those offshore accounts to then proceeds of you know, illegal activity or corrupt dealings.
You know, Trix, we are told that this ICIJ work was done over time. And it involved over 6,000 global journalists. And I want to believe these are journalists who did their best. And look at the weight and the type of the files, 11.9 terabytes. It's a huge file compared to the Panama one, which was, I think, 11.6. So I believe that there's a lot of work that was done, was put in it. But what worries me most is that while they pick on certain world leaders, and specifically Kenya, President Kenyatta's family.
Yes.
They also say that that report do not link President Kenyatta to corruption. So therefore, this issue of rushing for splashing headlines that it is money from corruption, it is money laundering, I think that is a perception that the media must now try and shed, because I'm sure the media have read thoroughly the report from Pandora Papers.
Yes,
but also, as I was saying, that journalism, I think it can be enhanced in a way so that they focus specifically on offshore accounts that contain money that is from the proceeds of corruption or illicit money.
Yes.
Now, lastly on this point, I was saying that corruption is the biggest enemy in this country. And that's why I keep referring to Gideon Moi's speech when he was at the Kanu National Delegate Conference, when he said that we must now make radical decisions. And those radical decisions, some of them will affect how we conduct ourselves as leaders and as people of Kenya, particularly in areas of corruption. Because we have seen young people being denied jobs because of corruption. We have seen people being denied Medicare, oxygen, bed space because of corruption. We have seen people dying on the roads because of corruption.
Yeah.
When you steal money meant for public use, you are actually killing. And such a person should be hanged by neck to die.
Okay.
Because you are a murderer.
Okay.
Now, I want to believe that there's a better way of doing things. As Prof has said, the goodwill. We have enough laws. The provisions of leadership and integrity requires that a state officer must conduct himself in a manner that shows integrity.
Yeah.
But that has not been happening. How about we now start using, because if you look at the 47 governors' tricks, those 47 governors, in one way or another, they have misappropriated funds, as per the Auditor General report.
Yeah.
And this is the only report that reveals if the money, the public money, has been used in a lawful manner. How do we now use that report as the first piece of evidence in a court of law? How do we make sure that ODPP, DCI, and Auditor General report are synchronized so that they work together